We all want to be happy, don't we? If you didn't want to be happy, you wouldn't click on this video and wouldn't be watching it right now. But the thing is, our minds are sabotaging us constantly. Natural selection and evolution doesn't really care if we're happy or not. The only thing it cares about is for us to survive and reproduce. I'm gonna ask you something, and take your time and think of it. The question I want to ask you is, what would make you happy or happier right now? What would have to happen for you to become happy or happier in this moment? So this question that I just asked you was asked around to 100,000 students in United States in 2018. And the result is that 55% of those students who have been asked this question said that something that would make them happy is to achieve success in their chosen career. And 83% of those people said that becoming rich would make them happy. Being financially well would make them happy. But here's the twist. Do these things actually make us happy? I mean, how can we find out the answer to this question? We can ask people directly. Like in this study, we can ask, what would make you happy? What makes you happy? But the problem is people are not really good at judging what will make them happy. A lot of us think that winning a lottery would make us happy, right? But after initial surge of happiness, we become no happier than we were. Sometimes even more miserable, because people can use us, people who we trusted, our friends, who we actually loved and put our lives into, and they could use us for money, and that would cause us to become isolated from people because we can think that they would use us for money, and that will make us more lonely and depressive and so on. So it doesn't really sound like happiness to me. Another problem is our memory is not really reliable because our brain only stores bits and pieces of entire experience before us. It's called reconstructed memories, and it happens to all of us all the time, always. So the better way to get an answer to this question would be to follow people's lives. Not like Joe from you. Just follow people's lives, observe their decision, choices they make in life, and ask them follow-up questions about their happiness and how they feel in their life. And thankfully, there is a study like that. It began in 1938 and is still ongoing, as I know. I'm not sure. Initially, this study was supposed to follow 200-something men from Harvard, but it ended up following them, their children, their wives, their grandchildren, and so on and so forth. This study had been passed down from generations to generations of researchers. And long story short, what they found in all these years is that human connection appears to be the most important indicator for person's happiness, And it's true for extroverts and introverts alike, because at this point, I think you know what is the difference between extrovert and introvert, and that extrovert likes to be around a lot of people, introvert just by themselves, but they also like to have some friends. I'm an introvert, I know that. No, actually, I'm ambivert. I can get energy from certain people. Oh, see, sun is shining. I can get energy from some people and from places and from situations, but I could also get drained by the people and certain situations easily. And we overlook this factor because we had relationships before we can even remember. Before we have memories of those relationships, we had those relationships. It's like the air we breathe. We're so used to it that we just underestimate it. We don't think it's that important, even though there are so many studies to suggest otherwise. But that's not all for this video. You already know that we're not wired to be happy, that evolution and natural selection doesn't really care for us to be happy, and our mind always playing tricks on us and stuff like that. You already know that because I already said that at the beginning of this video. So our minds like to lead us astray, tricking us into thinking that, that thing would make you happy, for sure. Oh, and that thing would make you happy. And those things together would make you so happy. And this thing called miswanting. Miswanting is when we try to achieve something that we think would make us happy, but when we achieve it or when we get that thing, we are only happy for a minute or second, or not happy even at all. And here why it happens. First one is intuition. We all have intuition about things that would make us happy, right? We think, oh, if I'm gonna get this thing and this thing and this and this and this and this, I'm gonna be so happy, you know? I don't understand how that person could be so sad in such an amazing apartment with such an amazing car with all that money and family and friends. I don't understand how that person could be so miserable, you know? If I had that, I would be happy. Or we think if we're gonna find a significant other that would make us so happy. But the thing is, money doesn't really make us happier or happy if we have enough money to put food on our table and roof over our head. It will not make us happier. There have been so many researchers, there have been so many studies on this topic, and it have been proven. Yeah, there's little tricks and things you can search if you want. It will not make us happier, but we still think it will. As for example, if I'm gonna have newest iPhone or newest that or that or that, or if I'm gonna have more friends, or if I'm finally gonna get a promotion or a boyfriend, or I'm gonna have that award or that or that. We think all these things would make us happy, but as I said, people are terrible at guessing what will make them happy. And we often think that the problem is that we don't get everything that we want. But the truth is, even if we did get everything that we want, it wouldn't still make us happy. I remember 2 years ago when I was still in high school, and I hated it every minute of every lesson because people usually tend not to like high school. And I remember there were so many instances when I was sitting in my classroom and I thought, oh my god, in the 2 years I'm gonna be so happy because I'm gonna be away from this school. I'm not gonna see these people anymore. I'm gonna have my own life. I will not be forced to do this homework or to prepare to this test or learn this thing that I will never use again. And I was AP math. In my country, we don't get to choose our AP classes. I was AP in math. I wasn't AP in chemistry and physics, but I had more lessons than usual kids with AP in history or something like that. I had more lessons of physics and chemistry, and as you can understand, I'm not really like, it's a rocket science for me. Like, I know how to divide, how to add things, how to multiply them, and so on, and know some other things, but I will never do the exercises and things that I've been taught from 9th grade or like 8th grade, you know? So that was a total, complete waste of time for me, and I thought, oh my god, when I will have free time to actually do the thing that I love, which is this, I'm gonna be so happy, you know, I'm gonna be so happy. And I was, when it was September and I don't have to go to school and I can wake up at 10 a.m. and I'm like, oh, that is so nice. And then I wake up at 10 a.m. and I feel like complete loser because I could have done a lot of things. You know, I still find problems. I still find things to suffer for. So doesn't matter what I thought would make me happy and never did, from this point of view and from materialistic point of view and stuff like that. You know, people do make me happy. Doing this makes me happy. Reading makes me happy. Things like that, you know. But this is not about me. The second thing is reference points. We do not think in absolutes, in objective terms. We tend to compare all the outcomes of life. We compare everything. You might be doing great in life, but you see someone doing better and you start to compare yourself and you make yourself unhappy. And, you know, you bring all that negativity into your life because there's someone who's doing better than you. And we would have objectively good lives if we wouldn't compare ourselves, because the truth is there's always gonna be someone who's doing better than us, you know, always, in everything. And every person in this world is experiencing it. But because of this reference point that our mind is doing, as long as there's someone who's doing better than us, we're gonna be feeling awful and bad. Third one is hedonic adaptation. We get used to things really quickly. I can, for example, buy a new phone and say, oh my god, I'm gonna cherish it. I'm gonna love every moment with it. I'm gonna, you know, this is such an amazing gift. Thank you. And then 2 days gonna pass and I'm gonna throw it on my bed or like on the floor, or treat it the same way I treated my old phone. The same way we get used to things, people, and usually in our day-to-day life we do not think twice about the fact that we have food to eat, or roof or over our head, or warm clothes, or we have friends or family who are there for us, or we have this thing, or ability to talk to anyone in the world, or all these amazing privileges that we have, but we never think twice of because we used to it. We got used to it. So it's not really, oh, I have this bed. Oh my God, no, but they have better bed. I have this apartment, but oh my God, they have better apartment. They have this phone, but there's a new phone coming out. It's never non-stop. It's non-stop, Fourth one is impact bias. We think that if something good happens, it's gonna influence our happiness for a long time. But evidence suggests otherwise. It feels like winning an award or buying a car or an apartment or something that we wanted for a long time feels like it could change our lives, right? But the thing is, we're just biased about the particular impact any event can have on our happiness. So if our brains keep getting it wrong, how can we fix that? First, let's just take a step back. Famous philosopher Aristotle, in one of his books, argued that everything has a purpose. You go to school to get an education. You get an education to get a job. You get a job to buy things that you want, which ultimately, in his opinion, everything leads to happiness. Every action, every choice we make every day is leading to happiness, our idea of happiness. To achieve this, Aristotle said that we need two types of strength. First one is moral virtues, like bravery, kindness, self-control, which you develop by practicing them regularly. Second one is intellectual virtues. These involve skills like wisdom, critical thinking, which you can build by learning and reflecting. For Aristotle, real happiness isn't just a moment of feel good. It's something you work on your whole life. He believed in a balance, which he called doctrine of the mean. I don't know where the name comes from, but that is the name, doctrine of the mean. So for example, bravery is a balance between recklessness and cowardness. And as he said, finding this balance takes a lot of self-awareness. Aristotle also recognized that external factors also matter, like being healthy, having friends, family, being financially well, but he thought that true happiness doesn't depend on these factors. Instead, he believed that it comes from becoming a better person and building strong and meaningful relationships. You might ask yourself, why did I tell you all of this? And the reason I told you all this is because before I'm gonna tell you how to rewire your brain for happiness, I want you to know as many views on happiness as you can. So it will be easier for you to form your own view on happiness. Okay, here's 5 steps how to rewire your brain for happiness. And first one is something that I already mentioned in this video. It's social connection. Every available study on happy people shows that people are more happy when they physically spend time with other people. Again, doesn't matter if you're extrovert or an introvert, doesn't mean if you're extrovert and you're gonna spend more time with other people will make you happy. You have to have connection with people, not only like it even says here, social connection, not just go out with people or go to clubs or whatever. You have to have social connection with people. You have to connect with people on a certain level, because if you feel like the person doesn't understand you, or you don't understand the person, or they judge you, or you have any negative feelings toward the person, or you feel like that person has negative feelings towards you, or they don't understand you, and so on, you'll feel lonely. Doesn't matter if you are with 2 friends, with 10, 5, 60, or there are 100 people in your apartment just celebrating the fact that it's Friday. Doesn't matter how many people are around you, you just have to feel connected to a person. That's why introverts, I think, have like 2, 3 friends, 1 even, because they just want to find a person who they really feel connected to. And as example, me, I don't like small talks. I like small talks with certain types of people, but usually I don't like small talks. And extroverts love them, and I don't like them. It's such a waste of my energy, you know, but because I don't connect with people. You understand? I don't feel the connection with people, because how are you? What do you do? How's the weather outside? It doesn't really connecting. It's draining my social battery. So yeah, social connection, even just with one person. There doesn't have to be like 10 of them or 50. Second one, which might surprise you, is doing nice things for other people. And I know what you might say. Happiness is supposedly doing things that makes us happy. You know, it's about self-care, self-love, and so on. How does making nice things, doing nice things for other people will make me happy? Interesting, right? But what researchers also found is that happy people are more other orientated. It doesn't mean that they're people pleasers, you know, but they like doing nice things for other people. And somehow in our brain, it makes us feel happier when we do nice things for other people. When we people please, it actually makes us, I'm gonna say, as example of myself, I just start to get irritated of myself, and I just start to, hate is a strong word, but hate myself that I can never say no to a person or to a group of people, whatever. I say yes to something that I don't want to say yes to, and it doesn't really make me happy, you know, when I understand that I have to get this project done because I said, yeah, sure, yeah, no problem, right? And then I'm like, yeah, there is a problem. I'm not gonna be on my brother's wedding, but, you know, I'm gonna help you with the project just because you want to go out on Friday night and to leave work earlier. This situation actually never happened, and I don't even have siblings, so that's totally made up. But what I mean by doing nice things is not also saying yes to people, which in some cases, yes, it is, but donating your money, volunteering, helping out other people, you know, sacrificing your time in order to help other people, not necessarily the people you know, but just random people. Again, volunteering, doing things like that. Third one is that we have to change our thought pattern. Do we have a mindset that is focusing on all the negative things of the world and only noticing the negative things, or do we have a mindset that focuses and notices all the blessings in life? It's no brainer, but people who are happier, they focus on the blessings. And if you do not do it naturally, which I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that you do not, what you can do is just write things you're grateful for. Before bed, after you just woke up, in the middle of the day, whenever you want to. Just this practice of writing a few things every day, what you're grateful for, is gonna help you to change this thought pattern. Fourth one is paying attention to good things. The reason why our good circumstances don't necessarily lead us to happiness is because we tend not to notice them. We'll buy a delicious latte, and instead of savoring this moment and appreciate it and, you know, enjoy it, we're just gonna chug it while we're checking emails. So no wonder why we feel less happy with every day. And the final one is actually cliche because everyone knows it, but few people actually do it. It's exercise. Because sometimes we forget how our mind and our body actually interlink and how they're connected. And in order to change how we feel emotionally, we just need to move our body and something like that. Yeah, that's why it's so important. I don't think I have to give you a lecture on how exercising is important and why it's important and so on. I think by now you know that. If you don't, well, you will, because it's all through social media. So after all of this information, I'm curious, what makes you happy? What would make you happy? Leave your answers to this question in comments down below. And if you like this video, subscribe and, I don't know, send it to a friend who you think will benefit from this video. And I'll see you in a few weeks or a week or in a few seconds if you want to watch any of my videos. Okay, bye!